And finally, new rule, okay, boomer, isn't an argument. It's actually an admission you don't have one. Gen Z complains a lot that I make fun of them, but I don't feel too bad about it because they never engage with the idea itself. It's always just, you're old. Yeah, that's not an argument. It's a prejudice, the thing you purport to hate. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I can't look at your Queers for Palestine banner and pretend it's not idiotic, but just because something is progressive doesn't always make it progress. It's about ideas, not age. And to prove my point, tonight I'd like to talk about how mind-blowingly batshit crazy a lot of people my age are. A funny thing is happening in this election. The younger voters are liking Trump more and more, and the over 60 crowd, which normally leans Republican, is this time preferring Biden, and I think I know why. If you're my age, you've seen friends and loved ones go down a Facebook rabbit hole or get sucked into the Fox News vortex and never come back the same, transformed from a normal person into some lunatic who's hoarding survival seeds and thinks Jewish space lasers cause wildfires and chemtrails are a form of mind control. There's a viral tweet that says, Fox News and Facebook did to our parents what they said video games would do to us. I think the reason Biden is winning seniors is we want our friends back. We all have that uncle or grandparent or in-law or favorite TV star or movie star who used to be an everyday reasonable citizen but now forwards emails in all caps about election conspiracies and QAnon conspiracies and what 5G is really going to be used for and what's going on in the basement of Hillary's pizza parlor and how the reptilian shadow government is threatening to turn everyone gay by putting fluoride in the Budweiser. A popular political book once asked, what's the matter with Kansas? Today we have to ask, what's the matter with Grandma? We've watched too many friends disappear into this weird black hole. Many are married to Supreme Court justices. 2 days after the 2020 election, Clarence Thomas's wife, Ginny, who met Clarence back in the 1980s when they did porn together, she forwarded a text to the Chief of Staff of the President of the United States, saying that she heard that the Biden crime family and ballot fraud co-conspirators were going to be taken to barges off Guantanamo Bay to face military tribunals. And then she wrote, I hope this is true. Yes, and I hope you get checked for lead poisoning. Then there's America's Karen, Martha Ann Alito, wife of Justice Samuel Alito, who holds a master's degree in library science and yet has devoted her life to waging war against neighborhood lawn signs. Martha Ann rants about getting even with the media, not realizing that now kooks like her are the media. A recent study found that a mere 2,100 people accounted for spreading 80% of the fake news on Twitter during the last election, and most of them were older, white, Republican women. We have met the Russian trollbot army, and it's your Aunt Bonnie. That's who it is. Yentas who post all day, and it's always a retweet, and it's always wrong. They watch lies on TV and believe it because it's TV, and then post it to their friends who believe it because it's Facebook. And it's not just Facebook, but also X, formerly known as Twitter, and Fox News, formerly known as News. A study once found that using the Fox News website as a news source made you less informed than watching no news at all. It's the Ozempic of knowing things. And still not as bad as the news finds me people. Yeah, that's the growing cohort of Americans who believe that if a story is important enough, it will find its way to their social media feed. Yeah, these are people who trust their Facebook friends to watch Hannity for them. But here's the thing. With kids, when they get lost to the insanity of social media, we can, and increasingly schools, districts are doing this, taking away their phones for at least part of the day. But you can't take away a 70-year-old's phone. You can just make the text smaller. So we have to figure out why so many seniors are so susceptible to fake news. Now, part of it is, unlike the kids, they didn't grow up with bullshit media, corporate-funded, narrative-driven, and completely partisan. So when that came along, they had no immunity for it. Boomers, we grew up with old-school Time magazine and Walter Cronkite. Closest thing to fake news back then was pretending Liberace was looking for a woman. The boomer generation never developed the antibodies for clickbait. They turned on the TV one day and Lawrence Welk was gone. And in his place was some guy named Lou Dobbs who was telling you the reason you had a good weekend was Donald Trump.
Have a great weekend. The president makes such a thing possible for us all.
How does this happen? Well, part of it the left has to own. The presence of an aggressively anti-common sense agenda on the far left is a powerful magnet pulling people to the right. But also, old people are just cranky, which fits very well with the hating menu prepared at Fox and Facebook. And there's one other reason, because this is America, where we abandon our elderly to nursing homes, because just leaving them in the forest is illegal. So we can't be too surprised when they turn to the Fox News family as a replacement for their own. We warehouse them in homes, gouge them on their medications, target them with phone and internet scams, and force them to work past retirement age. We treat old people like children and children like sages. No nation disrespects the elderly like America does. Makes them feel invisible, barely tolerated, and underappreciated for the wisdom they could offer. And maybe that's what drives so many to be hateful to anything coming from younger people who have not been particularly nice to them. Maybe the generation gap can't be bridged, but that would be a good place to start.